Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Week 10 edition of Coach's Night Out. We're live at Town Square Social. I'm your host, Tommy Bryan, and we'll have a good show for you this evening as we head toward the very tail end of the regular season. Coach's Night Out, Town Square Social is the site, 145 Public Square here in Lebanon, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Advantage Roofing Contractors, LLC, Donnie Self and Rob Painter. Daryl Tidwell, loan originator with Southern Bank of Tennessee. The Salas Realty Group, 120 Public Square. THW Insurance Services, LLC. Cumberland University Athletics. And DT McCall and Son, Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Franklin, and Cookeville make this show possible through their sponsorship. Week 10, October 20, Green Hill plays at Cookeville. Ezel Harding at Friendship Christian. That's homecoming for the Commanders. Columbia Academy at Mount Juliet Christian Academy. Hendersonville at Lebanon for senior night. Macon County at Watertown. Wilson Central at Warren County. And Mount Juliet travels to Franklin. Thanks to all of our sponsors again for making this show possible. Chuck Gentry, head coach of the Blue Devils, with us in the first segment of our show. And Chuck, again, tough one, so tough last week. You got off to the great start against Mount Juliet. To the Bears' credit, they kept coming back. They got it into overtime, got it into a second overtime. Mount Juliet comes away with a 38-31 win. It's I know because it means so much to you, the coaches and the players, the fans. It's still got a gnaw at you.
Oh, it does. You know, this is one of those that the way I'll just use myself, the way I am, in 10 years, it'll still be eating at me. But again, you have to snap and clear and get ready to play Hendersonville. But, you know, as you look back on that game, number one, hats off to Mount Juliet. They have a really, really good football team. The first half, our kids played well and opportunistic and did the things that we asked them to do game plan wise. Second half, we didn't play so well, had some things not go our way, and didn't make the plays when we had to make the plays, and that lies on me, coaches, players, all of it. We felt like things should have been done, and we could have managed things better, and just a little extra. But one of those nights, and again, Mount Juliet has something to do with that, and shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't. So you try to learn from it, you try to correct it. But I will say one thing: our kids played a lot of snaps and played hard. And I talked to them after the game. They're upset, I'm upset, but I was very proud with the way that they played, the way that they acted, the way they handled themselves. Because when you put so much into something and you're so close and it don't happen, it is sometimes hard to deal with, and sometimes rivalries bring out the worst in people. And I was very proud of our character and composure when it didn't go our way.
Mount Juliet had 72 offensive snaps, and the defensive unit wound up being on the field a lot there in that second half. You look at some of those numbers, and Chuck Weston Binkard had a game. Good grief, what a game. 14 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, intercepted a pass and ran it back 25 yards for a touchdown after Kleinert had deflected it and knocked the ball up in the air. He blocked the punt that wound up being a touchdown when Mariah fell on it in the end zone. He recovered an onside kick and recovered a blocked punt. A blocked field goal. The kid had an incredible game, and to look at him, he doesn't look like a linebacker, but the young man made plays for you all night long. He was the Bates Ford Wilson County Player of the Week.
Yeah, one of the kind of young men that you want to go to war with. He is there every day, works hard, smile on his face, means something to him. Takes pride in what he does. we asked him when he was a freshman to get him on the field. Hey, go play defensive tackle, defensive end. He did it. We moved him back to linebacker. He did it. We moved him to safety. He did it. We moved him back to outside linebacker. And, in one of the biggest games of the year, he has his best game. And, that's what you look for. And too bad that we didn't help him a little bit where we could celebrate. But, he played well along with some others. But Bink's got a motor that don't stop and a fantastic young man also. And, we're proud of him.
Chasen Dixon's another kid that comes to mind, Chuck. I want to say he had 7 catches for 133 yards. He made a catch one time where Kaysen kind of threw it in the hole between 2 defenders, and he's back almost like a center fielder and catches it. A couple of really good grabs.
Yeah, he had some really good. He went down one time and caught a slant route. The one you're talking about kind of looked like Stretch Armstrong. He looked like he was about 7 feet tall, but he has Chasen has really, really good hands, and we had him open again for a double move and just barely overthrew him, and he had a good game, and he's a big part of our offense, especially in our throw game, and really, really good at route running and hands, very, very special.
Azita, the tailback, the freshman, got some work in there, and it looks like as the season goes along, he's going to wind up getting more work.
Yeah, he is just a freshman, but he popped one through there, and I couldn't have fit through that hole walking through there, and he turned sideways and got through there and popped out. His running styles are a lot like DeQuante's, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. He wants to learn, eager to learn, hard worker, and he's got a bright future ahead, and we'll start to lean on him more as he gets more comfortable.
The thing about high school football, you've got this game, and now you got to forget about it and move on to the next one, because you don't want that game to beat you twice. And you got Hendersonville coming to Lebanon on Friday the 20th, 7 o'clock kickoff, senior night. Hendersonville's an awfully good football team.
Well, they're 6-2, one of the better teams that we played. Of course, they've been beat by Beach, who we know is a very, very good football team, and one other who I can't remember right off the top of my head. But, again, they've got a dynamic quarterback who may be the best overall player that we've played all year, which that says a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Because we played some good ones. And, he is very dynamic. He's a lefty. He can throw it. He can throw it about 70 yards. He can run. He's got moves. He's strong. He's got great command of their offense. And it's kind of like watching Kyler Murray and Patrick Mahomes back there. He'll run around and different arm angles, and then all of a sudden, boom, he shoots it out of there, or then he just pumps it and takes off running, and here he goes weaving through traffic. And so very scary young man. And then, of course, they always have some wing T components, which makes it hard. And then, they do a really good job on defense. But like you said, we had a team meeting on Monday. We talked a little bit about Mount Juliet and tried to get over it. Monday's practice was kind of short. We had the JV freshman kind of combo there with Gallatin. And then Tuesday and Wednesday we have you can tell they're getting over it, getting out of the funk. And I made a concerted effort to say, no matter what, this is just another regular season game. It's not a region game. However, in all these tiebreakers, it may mean something down the road, but it's the next one. It's our last home game, maybe the last time that these seniors ever step foot in that stadium and on that field as a Blue Devil wearing that helmet, and we owe it to them to give their best performance. Now, with that being said, it's another football game, and let's go play. And like I said, I was told Friday night there's a reason that the windshield's bigger than the rearview mirror. Once you get over it, look forward, don't look back. And I said, well, you know how I am. I'll be thinking about this one for a long, long time. But come Monday, I'll be ready to go. And I told my wife about 3 minutes before I talked to our team, I've got to flush this one and go on. As bad as I would love to go back and play it and do all those things, or have a timeout and call it or whatever, but can't. So let's go. Hendersonville's the next one, and maybe we'll arrive in a bad mood and play some good football.
When you talk about Hendersonville offensively, for years Hendersonville was a wing T football team, wing, slot, split in. They try to out formation you. They go tackle over or go unbalanced, but they're using a little more twins out of this set to take advantage of the skills of that quarterback.
Yeah, you still get the tight end wing, but they've taken that slot outside the twins, put the quarterback in shotgun, so they still have their wing T stuff, and then they've got their spread component, and it makes it a lot very similar to some of the things that Oakland does. And then defensively, for years they were an old school 50 team.
Right.
You knew exactly what you were going to get, and now they're a 50, a 40, a 5-1. They'll bring one linebacker down and leave a 5-1 as play man coverage. They'll do some of those things to make sure that you don't know what they're doing. Then they'll get in a 3-3 stack to make it worse, and so you have to be able to communicate and know what's going on to be able to do that. So it's a tall task, like I say. Plus they do have a good kicker and a good kicking game. So good football team. But when we scheduled it, we wanted towards the end of the season to play. I didn't know it was going to be sandwich between.
Right.
We were just, all right, this is what we're doing. We had talked to Coach Beasley and said, yes, we want to play if at all possible. We get our schedule. He's calling, we're calling, and the week that works is 9. And so the next one, or week 10 is now, but let's play them and see what happens, and maybe it will prepare us for on down the line, whether it's the next week versus Gallatin or hopefully further.
When you face a defensive unit that is as diverse as Hendersonville appears to be, does that limit your playbook a little bit because you want to try to do 3 or 4 things against everything, or you still got your whole package? And it is later in the season, so the guys should know what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, we block rules, and so based off what we call, most of the stuff that I call should be able to block. If you apply your rule, you should be able to block what you got. That doesn't always happen, doesn't always work, and so we try to cut some things out. We try to get in the best formations, the best motions and stuff. But I'm the kind of guy that I don't want to let them dictate to me what I'm going to do. I like to try to say, all right, I'm going to do this, and if you're going to do that, well, we'll do this. But again, we try to be proactive instead of reactive, and sometimes it's good, sometimes all right, shouldn't have done that. But again, we don't run a lot of plays. We run a lot of formations, a lot of motions, and the same things. And again, sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. But we're going to do what we do, and do it the best way we know how. And hopefully we execute, and hopefully mentally that, like I said, with the communications on par, and we don't have any bust about who we're buff. I tell them all the time, you turn on any brand of football, sometimes defense wins, sometimes offense wins. Sometimes somebody whips somebody. Don't let it be alignment and assignment. Sometimes it's Jimmy's and Joe's.
Yeah.
And so we want to win the alignment and assignment. And hopefully, if you win the alignment and assignment, hopefully the Jimmy's and Joe's are help. And then, but it is what it is. We try to do what we do and put our kids in the best position, and hopefully we can execute that.
Good bunch of seniors will be celebrated on Friday night during senior night. That's normally during pregame. I know band and cheer and dance and all those folks will be going.
All the fall sports.
We'll be going through that. This has been a good group of seniors.
Oh, yeah. This has been a great group of seniors. Part of a good stretch of Lebanon football. Been involved. Some of them been involved playing since they were freshmen. Some all the way up until now, and played in a lot of football games, and they've done a good job being leaders in the on the field, leaders in the school. When Woody Hunt stops you and says, "Coach, I had 2 of your kids over helping me move, and they're fine young men," and that's pretty high praise from a guy that I really admire. And so, it's just one of those things. Get good kids, 22 of them, and it's a group that we're proud to be around, and they will be good members of society and things like that, good dads, good husbands, and stuff. And we're proud of the growth of some of them as an individual, as a player, and collectively as a group. They've done a good job leading their team. And I'll say this, when we first started this year, a lot of people thought it was a rebuilding year, and 8 games in, we've been knocking on the door in every game, and win, lose, or draw. Most people will say, well, you've got a decent football team that's fighting and doing, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah. Talk about a couple of things here sponsorship-wise. Family Medical Associates and Pediatrics pays the freight so that Shop Springs Creamery can be the official chocolate milk of Lebanon High football. Book project, Character Time, sponsored by Partlow Funeral Chapel, Cumberland University, Mayhem Mechanical, LLC, John McDearman, Buckeye Drugs, and Sellers Funeral Home. This week's team sponsors. I thought JV freshman was over, and then you wind up with a game on Monday, and you had to feed those guys.
We had a rain out on the Thursday, before fall break, and so we didn't get to finish the freshman Gallatin, and so Gallatin was moving some of their freshmen up and done. So we played our JV and any freshman that wanted to play. So instead of 2-quarter JV game, we played a 3-quarter hour running clock, and did good. And those fine families also fed the freshmen, and it ended up being just about all of us some Shoney's, and there was some fried chicken that was devoured.
The Bennett family, the Scruggs family, and the Smith family made that possible. So that we put this show together on Wednesday, of course. Bo Massingale will provide the meal on Thursday, and then Friday, Wilson Bank and Trust, John McDearman, and Kurt Baker. Again, the kids really look forward to that sort of thing, Chuck. They love it.
Oh, yeah. It was, if you could come in there Thursday, Miss Rose, who's there, was working the gate for us because Coach Martin was out. Oh, and she said, "Goodness gracious, I knew y'all ate," but and we had chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans, rolls, plates, napkins, Gatorade, and pizzas, and those kids were coming in and getting, and then the freshmen went first with Brother Darren, and then the JV came through, and then the varsity came through, and the coaches came through, and then kids kept coming back. And she said, "This is a production." And I said, "Well, there's one thing I can promise you, that this bunch loves to eat, and the people that feed us treat us right, and there's nothing that ever goes to waste." Bad part is that coaches have to clean up the mess and the stuff, but it's always a fun time, and the stuff that they like to talk about and go through in those. You never know what the conversation is going to be.
Chuck, thanks for the visit as always. Best of luck when Hendersonville comes to town on Friday.
Thank you, Tom.
Chuck Gentry, head coach of the Blue Devils, with us here on the first segment of Week 10. Town Square Social is the site. Coach's Night Out is the show. We'll be back right after these words. second segment of Coach's Night Out live from Town Square Social. We're all over Facebook, several platforms, on Twitter, now called X, at TB Sports 5. The great thing about the show, if you missed part of it tonight, you can go back while you're supposed to be working tomorrow and watch the show in front of your at your desk. Thanks to Advantage Roofing Contractors, LLC, Donnie Self and Rob Painter, Daryl Tidwell, loan originator with Southern Bank of Tennessee, the Salas Realty Group, 120 Public Square, Lebanon, THW Insurance Services, LLC, Cumberland University Athletics, and DT McCall & Sons, Carthage, Lafayette, Lebanon, Franklin, and Cookeville, home of free delivery. Tim Mathis, head coach at Cumberland University, with me in segment number 2. And Tim, a tough one last week. It looks like Georgetown got things rolling on you a little bit, and you just couldn't get those guys stopped. 42-14 wound up being the final score.
And it really, it got out of hand for us in the third quarter. We really were hanging with them, doing good. The difference probably in the game was, and we knew they're a good football team,
yeah.
And we knew they were. We knew we'd have to play, a pretty hassle-free game to get it done, and we couldn't get pressure on their quarterback, and that's something we've done pretty good with our D linemen. But that their strength of their team, and it has been for years or whatever, but is their offensive line, and they were able to hold us out and never really thrown the ball very much, but they hit us for several long balls because eye candy and stuff, and we were looking in the wrong places in the secondary. And then offensively, we moved the ball really, really well. We get stalled out with a penalty or a bad play, and we got it figured out in the second half, but it was a little too late. And that kids kept fighting, but they're a good football team, and to beat a team like that, you gotta play to their level, and we just didn't Saturday.
Well, and it seems like every time out in the Mid-South Conference, you're going to run into some folks that can really play. And Georgetown kind of beginning to feel it a little bit. I think they were ranked 14th.
I think so.
The Lindsey Wilson coaching staff is now at Georgetown, and Lindsey was good, and now Georgetown is starting to feel it a little bit.
Right, and they, what their strength was their run game. I think, their running back was the leading rusher, and they were the leading, I think, running team in the conference, and we held them to 140 yards rushing, their lowest total of the year. That we did well. We couldn't get our whole defense is predicated in our stopping the pass as getting pressure on the quarterback, and we didn't do that. And then offensively, I think we got it figured out. We got it figured out too late, and we really started moving the ball on them there, but then it was too late. Again, we just can't wait that long to do that, and it's just the matchup for us, I guess, looking at it afterwards, is wasn't a good matchup for us. They were better up front than we were, and so it just wasn't a very good thing from that end. But I was proud of the way they fought. They kept fighting, and we got offensively got it figured out. And even we're driving there at the end to get another touchdown. In the second half, they really never stopped us driving the ball. So you got to take some positives out of it, and hopefully that carries over this week. And we've had a couple of good practices this week.
Luke Holloway, your quarterback, wound up as the leading rusher, scored a couple of touchdowns. He has been a good option running the football and has given the offense a little bit of a different dimension.
Yeah, they really, and that's, they were going to take Shepard out of the game. And that's, if you do that, you do that. But Luke can run the ball as well, and how we want to run the ball. And he had a lot of yards running the ball. It was just, that was what they gave us. And and we got a lot of plays that are replays and all that. So if they're going to key so much on Traylon and Nick, Luke gets all those carries. So we did really good in that aspect. We just should have figured that out quicker, I think, is for it to be more of a competitive. But for first half till right at they scored right at halftime, which really hurt us. But it was I think at the end of the first quarter it was 0-0, and then
they had a kick return in the third quarter.
Killed us the opening kickoff.
Yeah.
That really broke our back right there as far as just getting way down, and then we basically we're trading scores with them right there in the second half, but we just dug a hole in the first half we couldn't get out of.
It doesn't get any easier because you played number 14 at their place, Georgetown. Now you're going to play number 12, Bethel, in McKenzie. That's coming up on Saturday, and it's homecoming for Bethel. And they're all going to be juiced up, ready to go. And again, a tough environment, but you got to get your guys ready to go.
Oh yeah, you got to get them ready, and it's Mike does a fantastic job there too. The crazy thing about this game is because Mike recruits over here a whole bunch too, and
Mike Jasper, who's a Mount Juliet High graduate,
right? And it's super guy and one of my close friends. A lot of the kids on our team and their team are either teammates or they played against each other, and they've known each other since they were 8, 9, 10 years old. So it's become a big rivalry game for both sides, just because the kids know each other so well, because a lot of them grew up together and either played with with one of those guys or played against them their whole high school career. So it's a big game in that respect, because it's a lot of people that know each other that play against each other. And if you look over the last several years that we've had that, it's it's a back and forth, and it's always a big battle. It's a game that you don't have to worry about your kids getting up for it. Bethel kids are going to be up for it. Our kids are going to be up for it, because it's a game they do circle, because I know this kid or I played against this one. And so, it is a big game.
Well, and looking, I went back 10 years, and it's 5-5 over the last 10 years with Bethel, two programs that have seemed to be pretty much on equal footing. Now, Bethel had that great year last year where they went, I guess, 11-0 and went to the first round of the playoffs before they lost. But again, Cumberland's got to take care of Cumberland, and if you
last year, if we take care of Cumberland, we win again. Watching the game this week, just looking at it, 7 minutes to go in the third quarter, we're up 17-0. If Cumberland takes care of Cumberland, we got a shot. We've got to play well and all 4 quarters and do what we want to do. I think it could go either way, but it could also, they're a good football team. I'll never take that. You don't get ranked 12th for being an okay team. So they're a good team, but you've seen the things that Georgetown did to them or whatever that can help you with it, because Georgetown's a run heavy team. When they played them, they're a run heavy team. So you see some things, okay, maybe we can do some of the same things and put a little different wrinkles in. So, but it's going to be a challenge. We got to be ready.
Offensively, what's Bethel going to try to do?
It's kind of, and they will run the ball, and they seem to have run the ball, but they got to me what I think their best spots is their quarterback and their receivers. I think they got a great group of those guys, and they're going to try to isolate guys out there and get them in spaces where they can not necessarily nickel and dime you, because they'll hit you deep too. They're not afraid to just send a guy on a fly route and throw it, but they're going to try to spread you out, and they're going to take whatever we give them and try to beat you that way. They're not a one-dimensional team.
Well, again, it would sound like they want to try to protect their quarterback, and it then goes to the Cumberland front. Can you get to that guy?
Right. I mean, that's what it's going to boil down to defensively, is can we put pressure on him to make some bad decisions and continue to stop the run, which we've done pretty good doing that, but we've got to get pressure on him to put him in some situations where, you got a chance to turn the ball over. That's going to me is going to be the key is getting some turnovers. And it has been for our wins. It's when we get turnovers and get, some extra shots with the ball that we do well. And then we got to be fast footed and getting our offensive momentum going quickly. We can't wait a quarter or a quarter and a half to get settled in, and doing it is make sure that our game plan's solid where right from the get-go it'll go.
I would guess then defensively, if you can get pressure with just your front, that allows you some opportunity to play cover on the back end. Then if you've got to bring an extra man or two along the way, Bethel then got a chance for a big play.
It does, and that's the biggest. Last week, our biggest deal secondary-wise is quit looking in the backfield. You can't look at the jets and all this other stuff. Is run your coverage and be where you're supposed to be. If you do that and we get pressure, everything's going to be fine. So, but that's the key for us defensively. Is just don't get caught up in the eye candy, because everybody does it nowadays. And just our front guys got to put pressure on the quarterback. And then their defense is kind of a new age defense. They play with three safeties. It's kind of a 3-3 front, even a 3-2 front, but they have three safeties back there, and
kind of an umbrella back there,
basically. And that's a good word that you use for that, because they're not going to let you beat them deep. It's really a bend but don't break defense. So then when we get close to the red zone, now we don't have to bend so much. Everybody can come up, but they're not going to get beat deep, and so there could very well be opportunities to run the ball, because they are, and it doesn't. They did it against everybody we've seen so far. Is there's 3 down linemen and 2 linebackers, and they don't deviate a lot from that, but they're not getting. There's been teams that have been real stubborn trying to throw it vertically, and they're turning the Bethel's lived off the turnover. But don't be stubborn and throw a ball where there's 5 people. Just
and if you can
take what they give.
If you get a helmet on a helmet and get a one-on-one stalemate in a couple of places, you've got backs who can really crease them.
Right. We got to be patient and just take what they give us, and turnovers and time of possession and holding on to the ball is going to be key.
Health-wise, you come out of that game okay?
We're completely healthy coming out of that game, which is good news. That we'll have everybody available to rock and roll Saturday.
I'm trying to think. That's the 12. Is it 12:30 kick?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock kick. So you're going to leave on Friday?
No, we'll leave Saturday morning.
Okay.
It's close enough where it can be. I mean, it's
well, there's nowhere to stay in McKenzie.
Well, I mean, anytime I've ever had to do that trip in the past, you stay in Jackson, but we're gonna just make it a day trip and go that day. Of it's close enough where you can do that and make that happen. So that way our kids can sleep in their beds Friday night, and we'll get up and get them fed in the morning and get on the bus and go.
Well, you mentioned Michael Jasper, 2005 graduate of Mount Juliet High School, head coach at Bethel. They are putting him in their Hall of Fame. That ceremony is going to be Friday night, the 20th. And when you look at that class at Mount Juliet, that 2005 class, Alicia Clark, who's in the WNBA, who's playing for the Las Vegas Aces, and they're in the finals, she was a member of that class. She's about 4-time All-American in basketball. And Levi Brown, who was a quarterback at Troy, who set all kinds of records, passing the football, was in that class. High school classes don't come like that very often when you got 3.
Mike was, he was an athletic freak, so definitely deserving that he goes in their Hall of Fame, because heck, he ought to go in their Hall of Fame just because of the person he is. He's such a good person too, and it's a great honor for him. I'm proud that he's getting getting that honor because he deserves it.
Well, best of luck to you and the Phoenix on Saturday as you go to McKenzie to play Bethel. Next one up on the schedule, go get them.
That's right. Go Phoenix.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Tim Mathis, head coach at Cumberland, with us here on the second segment of Coach's Night Out. We'll be back with more after these words. segment as we wrap it up here from Town Square Social. The show is Coach's Night Out. We got a couple more weeks to go in the show, and then we wrap it up. But this show airs on 3 Facebook Live platforms, including the Wilson Post, Main Street Preps, and Blue Devil Broadcasting. You can also catch this show, TB Sports 85, on Twitter, now known as X, and on the Main Street TV app. So what you missed tonight, you can watch Thursday, Friday. John McNeil, head coach at Friendship Christian, with us. And John, you played an awfully good football team last week at your place at Pirtle Field. York Institute, apparently ranked number 1 in Class AA, and they get out of town with an 8-7 win. They really seemed happy to get out of there with a win against you guys.
Well, and I told our guys, I said, look, you don't think about the reputation you have, and you have it because it was a non-region game. Both wanted to win.
Yeah.
And it would be a big win. Both teams are I think, 2 of the better teams in their, division. And you could tell that their fans and them both were excited and should be. But I told our kids that should show you that you're a target every time we play.
Makes sense. How did that game come together? I know that last couple of 3 years, you've had to kind of struggle to get teams that would play at home and home.
I mean, that was one of those that we both kind of went to the very end. It was a situation that it was kind of neither one wanted to travel that far, and I had to have a home game. But we both waited to the very end just to see if we could get something closer. And then when it came time that we couldn't, I think it was his fall break week, but he didn't have a choice, and we didn't either. So first time we've ever played them, but it was a good battle. It was a good game.
Physical football game.
It was a physical game.
York wins. They get a third quarter touchdown, and they fake the PAT and get the 2-pointer. You had some opportunities later in the football game and just wasn't able to capitalize.
We had several opportunities. I think I'm trying to remember if it was the first half. We might have been opening drive, and we didn't get anything. We got a couple penalties, got down to about the 15. The story for us was penalties. We had more yardage than they did. Penalties got us. In fact, their touchdown drive, we gave them 50 yards on penalties. Wow. So it wasn't that they drove it down the field. Now, they got a good team, don't get me wrong, and heads off. They're very well coached. And, they did the 2-point conversion. They didn't line up. They faked the extra point, raised up, and we didn't cover the tight end. And, took guts to call, and he called it, and it won the game for him. Then we had a field goal. I don't remember if it's the 4th or 3rd quarter. It was maybe 4th that we missed that, it gave us the lead. So opportunities were there. We just didn't take them.
How'd your kids react after that? That was a tough physical football game. What was their mindset when it was all said and done?
I kind of approach after the game different sometimes. A lot of times I'll just say we need to wait till I see the film, because sometimes when I think we've done well, we didn't, and vice versa. I was upset with the penalties. I did know that part.
Yeah.
That part bothered me. And I told him, I said, I've kind of let that part go. That won't happen. And yesterday, a couple of them paid the price, which is, it is what it is. And and I ain't talking about jumping off sides and stuff. I mean, things that are unnecessary. And, so like I told them, I said, guys, before and after the game, winning this game is not going to, make us win any more games. Losing this game isn't going to make us win or lose any more games. What it's going to do is give us a good team to line up against coming off fall break. Something we need. And, we got what we wanted out of it, other than just getting the victory.
Well, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned in a football game like that. And now you've got Ezell Harding coming to your place, homecoming. Ezell, if I'm remembering this right, decided not to play region football for a couple of years. Now they've gotten back into it, and it seems like they're probably a little better than maybe I thought they'd be. They're 4-4, and they've been pretty competitive.
Yeah, I mean they've got athletes and they're getting where they need to be. I mean that's numbers is no different than the rest of ours. So it's a situation as I told our kids. Everybody asks about, well, what do you think? What do you got to do? I got to take care of us.
Yeah.
And I know but it is. If we don't, we're young in the line. Defensively, we've played solid. Offensively, we're just so young in the line and inexperienced that, we've had to make some changes on certain blocking schemes and stuff like that because we just didn't think we were able to get we were winning some games, but Tyson was also kind of the guy that made it work because we didn't have to block everybody. Well, that's not going to get us where we want to go. So we've hopefully made some changes that we can get better over the next 2 weeks that will help our team, I think, perform better offensively from an O-line standpoint.
Well, you mentioned Tyson Walcott, senior tailback, plays on defense. With a good game against Ezel Harding, he could be over 2,000 yards for the season. What a year he's had, again, with a youngish offensive front.
Oh, he could. And first of all, I want to apologize, but my mouth is burning. So I'm having to, my nose is running. I ate that over there and I shouldn't have ate before because I'm not a spicy guy. Ketchup's hard as it get for me. So I'm sitting there burning my lips and tongue and, question, Tyson
Walcott, 2,000 if he has a good game.
I love that kid. That kid is a workhorse. He practices hard. He plays just hard on defense, offense. Never does he let up.
He doesn't come off the field.
No, he doesn't come off the field. And here's the thing. He is like a pinball machine. You think he's down and he done spun, put his hand on the ground and gone. I tell you what, he is fun to watch. I had a buddy of mine that came and hadn't been around a while, coach. It's out of coaching, one of the better coaches for a long time. And he even told he went over to him and said, dude, I love watching you play. And just great. He's a good teammate. And
he's got that he's a wrestler. He's got that wrestling mentality, the guy you want in the foxhole with you. And he's going to fight every offensive snap, every defensive snap.
No, he does. And he plays just hard on defense. He's tough, and it's been good to have him with the young line because he's been able to help them from a standpoint. We've missed some blocks, but he's made them miss. So people don't see that. We see that's got to be is corrected as much as possible. But luckily we've had him, and we've been able to throw. Luke Sellers has done what we've asked: control the offense, make the throws when we need it. We've got some weapons outside. And I know, though, here's the bad thing. I know those guys would love for us to throw it more. But as a team, you're looking at this. There's so many bad things happen when you throw. And if you're running the ball and you're getting yardage and you're getting first downs and you got a guy that could bust at any time, it's kind of hard to do that. So we've been very successful, hitting the big play. Like they start crowding the box. We go deep, and we got receivers who can beat them deep. We get one-on-one coverage. So it kind of has helped us. He's had a couple hundred yard throwing games. So we're very equipped on the outside to be able to catch it. But, it's just our game is running the football.
Well, and you've got a guy who's obviously got the numbers. He's bearing down on, 30-something touchdowns he's already got this year. Get Tyson enough snaps, and he's going to take care of it and get you some points.
Yeah, and here's the thing. He hasn't, I think, 3 games off the top of my head. He didn't play in the second half. So all this came in 8 games and really 7 games,
Well, 6.5 if you consider 3 halves he didn't play.
So, it's a situation that that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. And one of his games, 300-yard games, was only on 15 carries. So, it's kind of and here's the other thing. Everybody knows he's getting it because our quarterback's, is not a running quarterback. He's not, our scheme is not made with that. Like, last year Garrett was his own read and some other things. we're kind of not running we're kind of running a sniffer. So if we're not throwing it, it ain't hard to know who's getting it. And so, it's a situation that it's kind of games we like because our defense is good. I mean, our defense has done a very good job this year. So that helps us know that we don't have to just throw up a bunch of points.
Well, Dwayne Lowe runs that defense for you. His daughter is going to be the homecoming queen on Friday, and I remember Dwayne's been with you for a long time. He played for you. I remember when she was little, and now she's homecoming queen at Friendship. There'll be a lot of former players coming back for this, won't there? Homecoming's always good on campus.
And I've seen a couple. I saw one come in last week, played for me in '98 or whatever. I'll be honest with you, I didn't recognize him because he had a beard. He's just gotten a little older, and one of the better receivers we had, Noah Searcy. And I was like, I didn't want to say anything, but I didn't hardly recognize him because I hadn't seen him in a while. And, I love our guys coming back. I don't do Facebook or social media, but I do have one page that's alumni football, baseball. And I just want to do that to connect and just be able to, I don't get on it a lot, but just wishing happy birthday to guys. Coach Johnson, his birthday's today, who played for me also and does a great job, a football operations guy. Coach Lowe's birthday's tomorrow, I think. So they're all getting older too. They were little pups. They weren't even married and they was running around. They got to see my kids grow up. Now we're seeing their kids grow up in front of our eyes. So this is what I love about it is, family. I get two son-in-laws that coach and it's just a great thing. And just for the record, I mean, my Coach Fry at Lebanon, McKinley, my little grandbaby, she will make sure that her dad knows Papa's a better coach. So, and a better golfer. If you go, McKinley, who's a better coach? Papa. Who's a better golfer? Papa. So
you did some extra duty during fall break, didn't you? Down in Florida. Tell me about that.
Well, we got our fifth one married, and she wanted a wedding on the beach, and we had planned on going to Amelia Island. My wife and I, we usually go somewhere every, that week we're off, and with her brother-in-law and sister. And so and then she decided she wanted to get married on the beach. So we drove down on Friday to RDA or something. I don't know, wherever that is. It's about 5.5 hours from where we were. And we had a reception on the beach, bonfire on Friday night. And we had a wedding on the beach. I performed the ceremony, and
they got you licensed. And
yeah, now I was ordained. Yeah, I had to say that by the power invested in me, state of Florida. I want to make sure it's legal, but it was great. I mean, my daughter, and that's all I care about. She got what she wanted. I told her just to have fun with it. Everything may not go the way, but it did. The weather was unbelievable. We had all of our kids there.
That's great.
The grandkids. We have 4 now, getting ready to have 2 more. One in Fry's getting ready to have another one for us. Well, Mackenzie is. Fry's getting ready to have another daughter, and we're hoping that I think it should be on my birthday. And so it's just, you know what? I'll say this. I hate losing, okay? But when the game was over the other night, and McKinley and Vivi, that's Brooke, her husband, one coaches at Ravenwood, when they come to the field, they don't care. And I get to grab them, hug them, and kiss them. It kind of takes a little bit of the sting away.
Well, and you're enjoying those grandkids, and you've always been a family guy, and it's good to see a guy who can go as hard at it as you do on Fridays wanting to win that football game. But there is something else in your life.
Well, those are I get to enjoy these babies. My daughters would be like, you didn't do that for us. No, because I had to raise you. I don't have to raise them. Luckily, I just get to be the papa and my wife, Nana, and get to, she'll know to go. Mackenzie will go, where you ain't got any money to get it. Well, Papa's got money or Nana's got money. So, it's a situation. She's right. She makes a phone call. She's going to get it. So, it is great. I told somebody the other day, and it's the truth. I can't really look. God's been good to me and my family. I've had a great place at Friendship. Friendship's been good to me. The administration's been good to me. The board, board's been good to me. my players. I've got more kids than I'd ever have that baseball, football that I love dearly, means more to me than any of the rings or anything we won. I do love that. Don't get me wrong, but that's not what lasts. When I get to see, Lee Sweeney or Adam Thompson come up, and kind of surprised about Adam Thompson. First he got married and then he had kids, but that's what I love. And then I got to be with my family too. I told somebody, friendship for 30 years. Here's the deal with that. I got to be and do what I love with the people I love, because a lot of coaches don't get that.
Right.
I mean, really, coaching takes you away from your family, but I got to choose a place that it didn't. And friendship was great about having, letting my family be a part of it. And that's what we're doing now with the coaches that have kids there.
John, thanks for the visit. I appreciate it. Best of luck against Ezel. Finish up strong this season.
Appreciate it.
John
Thanks, Simon.
McNeil, head coach at Friendship Christian, as we wrap up the Week 10 edition of Coaches Night Out, live from Town Square Social. Thanks to Justin. Thanks to Hunter for helping make this show possible. We'll be back next week for All the Game. I'm Tommy Bryan. I will talk to you later. MTSU, and they had a barbecue fundraiser thing. So she says,